All right. Well, I'll go ahead and get started to just tell you a little bit about the Columbus Minority Business Assistance Center, and then we're going to hand it over to Lynn today, our guest speaker, and she's going to talk about ODOT's DBE program and certification, the certification process, and so we welcome you today. For those of you who are a part of NBAC, just know that we are doing our best to give you as much as data, information, and training virtually that we possibly can. We have a lot coming up. Doing business, we did doing business with the state. We're now doing business with ODOT. We have doing business with the city. We have a lot of other future webinars coming up. So stay posted. A lot of that information can be seen on our We Care blog. We are continuing services as normal as usual. If you need counseling services, you can meet with a counselor virtually. So that's the best way that we are doing it right now. We're doing the best we can during this pandemic. So we are still in business. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, concerns. If you have any general questions or concerns, just contact us as mbac@cul.org. And we can help you when it comes to that. Any questions before we start? I think before we get started, I think I'm going to ask a question before I hand it over to Lynn is, what do you want to get out of this presentation today? If you could just kind of put that in the chat box, I think that'll allow and help Lynn to get started. So as she's going through her presentation, she can maybe hit on some of those highlights today. So if you don't mind, take a few minutes and just put in the chat box, what would you like to take away from today's webinar? Contracts available. Thanks, Michael. Anybody else? What would you like to take away from today's webinar? So that way, Lynn, when she gets on her presentation, she can hit on a few pointers. Bidding opportunities, contracts, just general information. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me in back today. Appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about our DBE and a little bit about SBE certifications with the Ohio Department of Transportation. Okay, so just a quick overview. We're ODOT. We'll cover DBE certification, touch on a little bit of the airport DBE certification, and then SBE certification. So DBE and SBE are specific to ODOT. ODOT manages, administers DBE certification and SBE certification for federally funded transportation projects. ODOT also has opportunities for MBEs, edge companies. MBE is mostly towards goods and services as opposed to the construction projects, whereas DBE, SBE are specifically towards construction projects, on transportation on the highways and anything highway related. But we do have the opportunities again for the MBE and EDGE. EDGE is mostly for our physical facilities, the buildings, construction, repairs, renovations. So we use EDGE as well, but that's mostly for our facility projects. ODOT's mission is to provide easy movement of people and goods from place to place. And to do that, we will take care of what we have, make our system work better, improve safety, and enhance capacity. I'm with the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and here's just a breakdown of our structure. We have our Deputy Director, Lauren Purdy, over the entire division, and we have our 4 offices there within the division. The Office of Access and Equity, led by Kim Watson, and they handle Title VI and ADA issues. Those are more internal issues to ODOT employees. And then we have our Office of Business and Economic Opportunity led by Deborah Green, and they handle DBE and SBE certification, as well as supportive services, which is funding up to $7,000 per year available to DBE certified firms who do work on ODOT projects. And Office of Civil Rights Compliance led by Katie LaPlace. And these are our contract compliance officers who go out to our construction sites and do compliance reviews and make sure the primes are doing what they said they were going to do in their bids, and making sure all the regulations are being adhered to. And Office of Outreach is where I am. Deborah Green's our interim administrator, and we do statewide outreach for business opportunities, how to do business with ODOT, and for resources for businesses looking to do business with ODOT, help find resources. And I'm one of 4 outreach managers throughout the state. So I cover regions 5, 6, and 10, which is in the middle and to the southeast in the map. And my other colleagues around the state, Jaleela's in Cincinnati area, Lisa Washington's in Toledo area, Maria Davila, she covers Northeast Ohio. But we all do the same thing, but just we've divided the state up into 4 regions. So if you're ever interested in doing business in other parts of the state, these are the other liaisons, outreach managers who can help you get into those districts. DBE certification. So the U.S. Department of Transportation established a DBE program to help remedy ongoing discrimination and continuing effects of discrimination on federally funded highway projects. And the DBE program helps to level the playing field for small business owners who are controlled by the socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. And we'll go over that here shortly. And just allows them to participate, compete for these large federally funded transportation contracts. Right now, ODOT's DBE program, we have an overall goal of 15.6%. That's across the board, across the whole state. So out of all our projects dealing with the highways, bridges, engineering, consulting services, et cetera, there's a 15% goal across the state. And we also have DBE development goals, which are mainly for the planning, the drawing, the specs, the plans for projects, and that's the consultant services side. So we have large firms who do, drawing of plans for highway projects. They help smaller companies and to develop, to grow. So there's DBE goals for those projects as well. And as you can see on the screen, in federal fiscal year 19, DBEs were awarded $88 million in federal funds here in Ohio. And most of that was as subcontractors to primes on projects, and then ODOT awarded an additional $20 million of the $88 million directly to DBE firms. Supportive services is also under ODOT's DBE program. It's a reimbursement of up to $7,000 annually on a first come, first served basis for firms who are doing heavy highway work. So that includes on the construction side, on the highways outside, and also on the planning side where you're drawing up the specs and the plans for the projects. And for DBE, if you want to be considered for SBE, there's no additional application. And we'll go over SBE too in a little bit here. And DBE certification, obtaining certification also would allow you to help or look for contracts with other organizations, agencies, entities that have DBE goals on their projects. So in addition to ODOT, you have the local public agencies, such as the cities, the counties throughout the state, the transit systems here in Coda in Central Ohio, the airports, and they have projects that have DBE goals. And reaching out to them directly, there's usually a liaison who handles DBE projects at each of these entities, and reaching out to them, introducing yourself to them, and seeing if they have any projects in your area of service would be another way you could utilize your DBE certification. And interstate certification, so if a Howe firm is DBE certified and wants to do business in other states for their projects that have DBE goals, there's an interstate certification that allows you to, wherever your home state is, you get certified there first, and then you can do work anywhere you would like to do work in the United States with that certification once you get certified in the other states. But your home certification is first. You have to get that, and then you have to get certification in another state. But the application process is much, much shorter and simpler when you go to another state, when you have DBE at your home state here. Okay, so our process. Eligibility requirements, socially and economically disadvantaged owners, and we'll go over, I think, a slide or two of the specific categories, but that person has to be at least 51% owner in the firm who's looking for DBE certification, not 50%, 51%, and presumed socially and economically disadvantaged owner must manage and control the firm as well. So you must be the decision maker, have the final say, and in order to be considered the owner. And DBE applicant must be a small business. We use SBA standards. So SBA has standards for various categories of small businesses. So whatever category your business fall under, that is the threshold that we'll use to determine your annual gross income. And for DBE certification, 23.98 million is the cap for certification. So all DBEs have to fall under that economic threshold. So ODOT takes a 3-year average, but basically your average annual sales income for your company cannot go over 23.98 million. And in addition to the overall sales for your company, your personal net worth as an owner has to be under 1.32 million. Your personal resident is not included in there, and your particular interest in the company is not included in that 1.32 million. And the DBE application firm must be an independent business. You can't be a subsidiary of another company. You have to be independent. And here are the categories for socially disadvantaged: a woman, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, subcontinent Asian Pacific Americans. And to apply for DBE certification, there's a link there, ohioucp.org, and you'll get to a page where you can click on various forms. So you look for the DBE application form. You'll be able to download a PDF and look at it and print it out. And there's an instruction page as well with it to make sure you have all your documents along with the application for it to be considered complete. After applications are sent in either online or by mail, the intake process happens where we have an officer who looks at all the incoming applications for completeness and see if anything's missing. If anything is missing, the email will be sent, say, hey, we need these forms, documents, please, within the next 30 days so we can finish completing your application. And then once all the required documents are submitted, the application is completed, then the application is going to be assigned to an analyst who will look at the application again for completeness and schedule an on-site visit. And right now, on-site visits aren't taking place physically due to COVID-19, and they're all virtual. And after the site visit, then the final determination is made, recommendation is made by the analyst, and then a decision will come shortly after that, a couple weeks or so after that. ODOT has about 90 days per federal regulations to complete DBE applications. a completed application, and once the completed application has been received. And with COVID-19, it's taken a little bit longer, but the normal time frame is 90 days. And this is going over what I was just saying. Within 30 days of the request for additional information, the certifying agency or the analyst will make a determination on the application. And once it's completed with the additional information being provided, and again, it can take up to 90 days. And right now, again, with COVID-19, ODOT requested a little bit of extension from the US DOT and was granted an extension. So not too much longer has been taking, but just know it could take a little bit longer than the 90 days. And once DBE certified, once the certification process is complete and a firm is certified, you remain certified as long as you meet the income eligibility, the threshold of the 23.98 and the 1.32 million. And as long as the owner still remains in the socially disadvantaged group, you remain certified. And each year to maintain or renew or reaffirm your certification, you have to submit a annual declaration, and it just asks for your annual income, just to make sure, again, you're under the 23.98 million and the 1.32 million. So you'll provide your tax returns for the past 3 years when you submit each year the annual declaration form. And that's how you maintain your DBE certification. If you don't submit the form, the annual declaration, and now being called no changes declaration, if you don't submit that, you'll get an email saying, hey, it's your time to renew. Please submit the declaration form with the tax returns in so many days. If you do, great, and a decision will be made to continue. If you don't submit, then process will be started for decertification. And just a couple points on interstate certification again. Once a DBE firm is certified in the home state, it can apply for DBE certification in other states. So just know that you have to be certified in your home state first before you can be certified in another state. And the other state will let you know what correspondence they need, but usually it's not the full-blown application like it was in your home state. It's a shortened version. AC DBE, the airport concessions DBE certification. So this is specifically related for companies who are interested in doing work with the airport. And so you could be, you know, a goods and service provider, the retail stores, a restaurant, a newspaper, magazine stand, anything related to that. And let's see. So it just gives examples, management contracts and subcontracts, a web-based or electronic business in a terminal, an advertising business that provides advertising displays, and then just goods and services to concessionaires. So just examples of companies in an airport that would need AC DBE certification. And the annual gross sales cap is a little bit higher for AC DBE, is 56.42, and it's different for the type of company as well. So you see there, if you're a bank in a airport, you can go up to 1 billion in assets. And car rental companies, you see 75.23, paid telephones when they were there, and automobile dealers. And the AC DBE section of the DBE application is on page 13. So if you don't need that, then you don't need to complete that section of the DBE certification application. Just a few points about SBE certification. It's Small Business Enterprise Certification, and it's specific to ODOT. And it just allows small businesses, again, to compete and have fair opportunities to participate on ODOT projects. And this is for the construction side, as well as for the consulting or planning, engineering side. And so a project for under the SBE program would have an SBE goal, or would say SBE set aside rather, in our bid letting. And then most of the SBE projects are under 2 million. And they're the same type of projects that are DBE projects, but they're just smaller amount, under 2 million, so that a small firm can be a prime on that project. So far we've had projects like replacing a culvert or the drainage pipes out there on the underground for the construction projects, repairing a bridge, or rebuilding actually a portion of a bridge, sometimes resurfacing a section of a highway, so many miles. So just, again, regular construction projects, but just very small, 2 million or less. And to qualify for SBE, it must be a for-profit, heavy highway firm. The personal net worth is 1.32 million, which is the same for DBE, but then the personal adjusted gross income cannot exceed the 350,000. So it's a little bit lower than DBE for the adjusted. And then gross receipts for a construction company, 15 million is the threshold, and then 7 million for a consultant company, which is engineering, it could be architecture, it could be an environmental company, it could be someone who provides right-of-way or real estate acquisition services, construction inspection on a project. So, and again, for-profit company. And the SBE application is on the ODOT website, same as the DBE application. So ODI handles both SBE and DBE. So the applications are on the ODI website, and you can submit them online, or you can print out the hard copy of the application completed and send it in. And you need 3 years of business taxes and individual taxes, as you do with DBE certification. There's a personal net worth form, as there is with the DBE application, and then the on-site visit. And again, no application is needed for SBE if the firm is DBE certified or was recently certified. And for SBE projects, the SBE must perform at least 30% of the total cost of the contract with its own workforce. And then that SBE can partner with other companies to fulfill the other 70% of the contract. And the SBE must perform a commercially useful function, which is critical to the project. And that's how credit is received for SBE and DBE if you're providing a critical, necessary, essential service on the project to get credit. And for SBE certification, there's an additional qualification of pre-qualified with ODOT's Office of Contracts. Pre-qualification is not required with DBE, but it is for SBE. Well, sorry, I meant to take that out. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And then I was going to be right back. Sorry. I was going to show a little bit where you can find the contracts at. Waiting for the other one to pull up. So sorry.
It's okay, Lynn, take your time. In the meantime, while she's getting back on track with her presentation, is there any questions on what she covered so far? Feel free to post them in the chat box. We're going to have Janine Hooks, which is our business counselor for Columbus and back, to kind of vent through some of those questions. So in the meantime, please post your questions in the chat box.
Excellent. Thanks, Kim. Kevin Fuller has a question, which is, which certification would I need to consider for DOT and or local set-aside programs for lawn care, specific to lawn care? Can you think of anything, Lynette?
For lawn care, sometimes with our projects on the major highways, like you see here downtown Columbus, 7071, where you have grass and on the edges or included in the project. So lawn care could be included in that for like when the project is done and they need grass to be reinserted or planted. So that's one way. Also with our facility projects that have the edge goals, mainly lawn care, lawn service is usually included, with those, as have to cut grass and bushes and trim trees. So those are done, mostly in the summertime, and mostly is associated with our facility projects. So when I'll show you the bid letting pamphlet where you look for all the upcoming projects, you'll just look for the facility projects, and if you want lawn care opportunities. And then also, in one other way, is with our goods and services, our Office of Contracts. They have specific lawn care maintenance contracts, just a couple here in Central Ohio. And those are usually either MBE or they have no goes at all, they're open market. So, but those are on a different page on the ODOT website from the construction project. So those three ways, with the construction projects, with the facility projects, and with our goods and services, they're lawn maintenance contracts.
Okay, excellent. So great to know that there's opportunities for lawn care, and that certification should be probably MBE, just a little commercial there on the Minority Business Enterprise certification. The DBE, EDGE, would definitely be the ones that will qualify them for being able to participate in those federally based programs, right?
Right. Exactly, those three.
Okay, a couple other questions. Is there a time limit? Do you have to be in business for a certain amount of time before you can apply for DBE?
No, ODOT doesn't have a time frame, but you do have to, with your DBE application, have to have 3 contracts to show that you have a history of doing the service or work that you're trying to get certified for. So no, we don't have like a year you have to be in business. Just have to have those invoices to show that you do have the experience and history with that service.
Okay, that's a great clarification. I don't know that I understood it that way before. And other than invoices, there's a concern about 3 years of tax receipts. Is that a qualifier as well?
Yes, 3 years. If you haven't been in business for 3 years, you use your personal. So if you've been in business 1 year, then you use your business returns for that 1 year, and then your personal for your previous 2 years. So yeah, if you don't have business, then personal are what you submit.
Perfect. And now we have a question about IT. So we're going to shift industries just a little bit. Software companies that create specific software for transportation, will they just need to be SBE certified, or will they need to be fully DBE certified?
For IT, usually MBE is all that's required. I'm gonna say all, because IT usually falls under goods and services, and that's where MBE and EDGE apply more so. And the state of Ohio has IT contracts, which the company may or may not know. They're state term schedule contracts that most agencies use. ODOT is one of those agencies. So we use the state's contracts for IT services. So most IT companies are certified MBE, and then they look for opportunities through procure.ohio.gov, or they try to pursue a state term schedule for themselves, their own company, if they've been in business for, I think it's at least a year for that one. And they also have to have a GS contract with the federal government for a state term schedule. So ODOT periodically, not too often, may have specific IT contracts for agencies specifically. ODOT has a lot of internal staff that provide the IT services. However, when ODOT needs additional support for IT, whether it's a software or whether it's staff, we go to the state of Ohio's state term schedules for those particular items, like the staff, IT staff augmentation contract. When we need staff, we go to that. And so if you provide IT staff, then as a company, you would need to reach out to Knowledge Services, who's the prime on that contract, and register to become a sub and be added to that schedule to provide IT. So IT is a little different in that it's mostly under the goods and services portion, and usually ODOT uses the state term schedules for those services.
Lynette, you are a genius. So everything you can just recall
Oh,
off the top of your head. I'm so impressed. But I do want to segue what you said is that for goods and services, that is primarily an MBE state issued certification. And here's a little MBAC commercial, everyone that's listening. Minority Business Assistance Center, who's actually hosting this meeting for you, can help you with your MBE and EDGE certification. Put a message in the chat box if you're interested, and we'll be happy to follow up with you on the MBE or EDGE certification side. Lynette, I'm going to let you go ahead and take over on your presentation. Thank you.
oh, sure, thank you. Okay. So I'll just go a little bit, you can find the construction projects. So we have the DBE goals, mostly federal projects, EDGE goals, mostly state funded, and the set-asides, SBE, are mostly federal. But EDGE can apply to, because the project can be partially funded with state and partially funded with federal. So one project can have a combination of federal and state funds. Okay, it was just slow. So the transportation.ohio.gov, this is our new homepage. You will, the arrow's not far enough down, but the doing business tab to just look for construction contracts, and particularly ones that have DBE goals. And the next page you'll get to, you'll scroll down till you get to construction section. And then bidding construction projects. That's the next one to click on. And then this is our Office of Contract Sales page. So our construction projects are in the bid letting pamphlet there. And they're big documents. They come out twice a month or bi-weekly with projects that are pending, that are upcoming. And they go by date, they listed by date. So you just pick a date that may be in the future there. And that'll open the actual pamphlet. This is the cover page, what they all look like. And once you get inside, there's an index. So it'll index all the projects that are in that particular letting. And you can just scroll down to the particular page if you see something of interest to you. So we have and you look at the county too, or the area of the state that you'd like to do business in. So sometimes you may see lawn care there specifically. So, and that's, usually in the springtime as the summer months are coming, of course. And you scroll down to the particular project you're interested in, and then you just get more information about the specific work types that are included in that project. So clearing and grubbing, of course, that may mean trucking. You need to remove that. So that could be trucking, but there's also a trucking and hauling line there, and the type of things that they needed to be hauled away will also be listed. And landscaping will also be listed here if that's needed for that particular project. So that's how you kind of find the projects and go a little bit deeper to see the specific services in each contract And basically, once you find a particular service that you can do on a contract, there's another page you go to see who are the plan holders for this particular project. And those are the prime contractors who are interested or have expressed an interest in bidding on that contract. So you would reach out to that particular prime and say, hey, I can provide this particular service that I see listed in this bid coming up. How can I become registered with your company to be a sub on the project? And they'll let you know if they are taking new subs and what their process is. So that's mainly how DBE certified companies get involved with ODOT projects, becoming a subcontractor on the project. And we set goals. So this one has an 8% goal. I don't know if it was listed in the previous one. Oh, it says DBE, SBE, and EDGE to the left there. I forgot to mention that. So look for projects with those DBEs and then EDGE primarily for this crowd to narrow it down. And on the planning side, I just wanted to show you the different areas and type of companies that could be DBE certified and be included as subs on the projects, to plan the projects, to write the specs, the plans for the construction projects. So we have the construction inspection firms and management reviews. Sometimes there's reviews needed. Bridge inspection, that's another category. Research firms who do research, like in architectural, the research in architectural integrity to see if it's on a landmark or near a landmark, or if there's any historical landmarks nearby or included with the project. The design of the project, environmental services to make sure there's no endangered species. You have to adhere to the Endangered Species Act. And if there are endangered species in that area, they have to be relocated so that ODOT is not contributing to an extinct breed there. Right away, just in case ODOT has to purchase land for a highway or bridge or construction project, transportation project. Sometimes they have to purchase land, and sometimes a home is there, and so they'll offer to buy the homeowner's land, or another kind of building may be there where they may purchase that. So right away, acquisition, real estate officials are needed. Then just again, studies on the site, the project, potential project, components of it, and personal services that could be different kind. I mean, soil aggregate, people who test the soil as well. What's the other one? Geotechnical, again, to analyze the ground underneath and the environment around this potential project. So that's another way DBE certified firms can get involved in ODOT projects on the planning side. Oh, all right. So that was the last slide. And my contact information is here. Reach out to us by email. That's the best way. We're all working from home. And there's my cell phone as well too. So if there's any other questions, feel free to take out. Be happy to take them. And so I think if I forgot anything else. Oh, one other thing I forgot, and I thought it was in this slide. I guess I forgot. ODOT has local let projects. So the projects that are done either by ODOT or administered at the local level through the cities and the counties, those also have DBE goals. And again, it's the same kind of transportation projects, but it may just be a local road, a state route, as opposed to a freeway or just a smaller road. And so those may have the DBE goals, again, with the trucking, the regular services that you see on the ODOT administered projects, you'll see on the local let projects as well.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Lynn. What a great presentation. I mean, she knows this stuff in and out. So
Oh,
she
wow.
is the person you need to reach out to. You have any additional questions. I think I put your email address in the chat box. But we still have a few more minutes. So Janine, go ahead. If there's any additional questions, feel free to put in the chat box. Janine will take the questions and ask Lynn. As always, Lynn, we appreciate what you do and thank you for taking the time out to connect with our clients at MBAC. So Janine, I'll let you take from there. Is there any more questions?
There's one question, but I actually have a question, Lynn. Have you seen a change in the level of work from an ODOT perspective since COVID has been in our lives?
Oh, wow. Well, ODOT is considered an essential agency. So our work was able to continue throughout COVID, and we're gearing up even more so now. But the only decrease we saw were that some of our large projects were put on hold. So like the next phase of the 7071 project, which is a $78 million project, that's put on hold. It was going to be sold early next year in January, but it's on hold. And other big projects like that around the state are on hold. And with some of the construction firms, they were, some of their workers, they weren't at full capacity for whatever reason. And, but now they're coming back and they have to do the social distancing, wear masks, and when they can be socially distant, they can, but sometimes you just can't be. And you just work through it as safely as you can. So for the most part, the construction projects, they weren't like downsized or decreased, except for the large ones. But the prime contractors, as they were transitioning or figuring out how to do the social distancing on projects, they were ramping down until they can get their new protocols in place. And just the traffic count, you know, the travel, that's another area where ODOT saw a decrease in the traffic count, and the use of the fuel for vehicles went down, and it's going back up slowly. So that affected ODOT's just overall generally funding, because we get funded by the gas tax.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
So in this session, we've learned what the DBE is, how to interact with your agency to get the certification process going, what we need to get certified, how long we need to be in business. That's all been great foundation information. You moved into, now that I've gotten certified, now what? So we still have a question that's open here about where can we find upcoming architectural projects. Would that be on the same site that you referred to in your presentation?
yes, yes, at the same page that you saw where it said right here,
There we go.
or here, engineering. So right there, engineering instead of construction, you hit on engineering, and that goes to, or planning as well. But actually, it's one row down that says consultant services. So that is, which is right under planning on this screen here. So, but yeah, at the ODOT website, and it's consultant services page, and they have the programmatics, like we call them bid letting pamphlets for the construction side. They call them programmatics on the planning / engineering side. And that lists the upcoming projects, the programmatics. Those come out 3 times a year. So our next one's in September. So yes, but feel free to email and I can shoot you the direct link, and if you forget.
Okay, great. And then another question is, will people be able to access information on previously issued contracts? So if they want to see who won the bid, what the thresholds were that made that a winning bid, is that accessible?
Yeah, it's on our website. It's called our awarded bid tab. So right here on the bid letting pamphlet on the right side, it's called award sheets. And this lists all of our contracts. It goes back so far. like years back to see who won particular projects. But yeah, that's the tab.
Great. So spending some time going over and through the website would probably really helpful for some of our entrepreneurs and business owners that want to do business with ODOT.
Yes, yes, and it's a large site, so anytime you get lost, definitely can send me an email, give me a call, and I'll walk you through, get you to the right page. But yeah, definitely getting familiar with their website.
Fantastic. I know that there's a question whether or not this recording will be made available. Yes, we will share that link later today. Just to let you know that these are large files, so it takes us a little bit of time to get this downloaded so that you're able to go back through Lynn's presentation and to see that. And let's see here, Melanie from BWC is saying that BWC, Bureau of Workers' Comp, is providing free face coverings to Ohio businesses. She said, spread the word, or feel free to contact her. And if you all can see in the chat section, there is her email and phone number listed there. So Melanie, thank you for reminding us about necessary and available PPE. Kim, you want to take it over from here?